Why should people care about religion? That is a great question. And the reality is there's actually a host of fundamental questions. Sometimes they're called the perennial questions that everyone asks in life. And these are the questions that help us to understand the true story of the world. They're questions of meaning and value and existence, things like, does God exist? Or can we know anything? Or is there any moral truth? Or what is the meaning of life? And what's so interesting about the question of religion, there's actually a number of interesting things, but one thing is even the word itself. It comes from this Latin word, religiare, which means to bind. And so religion is this quest to unify our understanding and our beliefs about reality, and really to be reunited or united to reality itself, right? So it's like this question of fundamental importance. And that means it's a question about God. And I think this is probably the most important question we can ask. Does God exist? And what kind of being is he? So it's incredibly important to ask this question. And not just to ask it, but to seek out an answer to that question. The other interesting thing about this question is that throughout the history of the world, all cultures and at all times have been deeply religious cultures. And this actually tells us something quite interesting, right? Because I think what that reveals to us is that part of what it means to be human is that we have this deep longing for God. And I think that's instructive about the truth of the world, right? That we've actually been created perhaps in such a way that this deep longing of the human heart finds fulfillment in the actual God of the universe, right? So not only do we have this question, but many people have the sense that God exists, and you can't sort of rub out this deep intuition that there is a God, like you can rub grease out of a pan or something like that, right? We just come into the world with this deep longing for transcendence, this deep longing for God. So we should care about this question, and more than that, we should pursue the answer to this question. And I would just say one way that we can pursue that is to pursue the person of Jesus Christ. Because what you find in Christ is someone who claimed to be God. He says pretty crazy things, right? Like, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And no one comes to the Father through him. And he says that, like, if I said that to you, you'd think I'm crazy. But yet people believed him. And the reason why they believed him is he actually backed that up with his life, the miracles he performed, and most principally with the resurrecting from the dead. And so if you can establish that Jesus is in fact who he claimed to be, what that means is that Christianity alone, among all the world religions, is the true religion that was founded by God, and thus the place that we find our salvation to man's fundamental problem, which, as it turns out, is sin. So Christianity is the true religion of the world, and I think that we can begin that quest by looking at the person of Jesus Christ.